Good morning, guys. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, December 13th. Welcome, guys. Come on into the room. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in because my time is limited this morning, but my name is Victoria Grace. If you're on this live right now, if you follow me here on TikTok, this community is called Dare to Pursue. So, welcome to our community. Dare to Pursue is literally all about giving God your yes and answering that clarion call to get up on your feet, get up off your butt, and do what it is that He's telling you to do. Many of us inside of this community are real MVPs, okay? Which means we are the most valuable players in our bloodline right here, right now, right here today. We are the most valuable players, which means God has called us to break generational curses and build generational wealth in our family, financially, spiritually, emotionally, and spiritually. And I did not mean to put finances first. That's just what came to mind first. It's usually at the bottom of the list because all the other things combined together really allow us to get like this with God and then have the wisdom that we need to create the finances that we need and to create the wealth that we're longing for, or whatever the case may be financially. Okay, so just because I put that first does not mean that is the wholeness of what wealth means. But again, you guys, my name is Victoria Grace. And if you want to get connected to this community, of course, follow me here on TikTok, as well as click that link in my bio. You can go to daretopursue.co, daretopursue.co, and get connected. So real quick, because like I said, my time is limited this morning. I hope you guys are doing well. It is December 13th. I mean, December's almost over, you guys. December is almost over. We have 2 more weeks in this month. Literally 2 more weeks in this month. And of course, just a few days, but 2 more weeks in this month. And if you were a part of MVP Day, okay, so we're also over on YouTube. So if you missed our MVP Day, the title and the topic for that particular event was the last stretch. The last stretch. The last stretch. And in that, not only did we thank God, repent, talk to Him, ask Him what it is that He wants us to do. But we also really talked about obedience versus disobedience and the different types of disobedience, and how there are so many of us. Again, we're the real MVPs, right? We are the generational curse breakers and the generational wealth builders in our families right here, right now. We're the most valuable player, which means you are the real MVP. You can't be on the sidelines. It means you have to get up. And I really hope that this encourages you today that yes, it is December 13th, but there is still time. This is the last stretch. You still have time to be victorious before the end of this year. And really quickly, for anybody that may be new, at the end of 2022, I believe it was December 29th, 2022, I was in the car having a little concert with God, and God basically told me, I believe that I heard Him very, very clearly. He said, show me your glory. So this entire year, I've been talking about show me your glory, show me your glory. Specifically God's glory, right? Like, we don't want nobody else's glory but God's. We don't want our glory. We don't want nothing else but God's. And so He's saying that is not over. It was not just an anointing or a word of the Lord for 2023. It is continuous. It is what He wants to give you. It's what He wants you to see. It's what He wants you to experience. It's what He wants you to operate in well beyond 2023 into 2024 and beyond 2024. Like continuously. It's not something that He just wanted you to be like, oh, cool. 2023, show me your glory. All right, cool. Like, no, it's something He wants you to continuously experience. And I said this in our last live. There are things that we have to finish in this year so that the things that God has for us to come, that he wants to come to pass the beginning of 2024, we've got to finish it first. Have you ever, okay, think about it like this. So if you have, there's this thing in psychology called open loops. And usually when I talk about open loops, I talk about it in a way that is directly related to things in our mind. Okay? And I directly relate it to confusion and cycles of chaos. And we don't have enough time to talk about all of that this morning. But you can take the concept of open loops. So what are open loops? Open loops are things in your mind that have not closed. They're, if you could think of it like a wheel in your mind is turning, your mind is going. That open loop is continuing to be open, it's continuing to turn. So when it's time to move on to the next thing that you need to think about, the next thing that you need to complete, you can't complete it because you're confused, because you're overwhelmed, because your mind is cluttered, because these open loops have not been closed, because you haven't finished thinking about, or you haven't healed from whatever it is that is going on. So that's kind of like what an open loop is. And so God is saying you can take that concept of open loops into your everyday life. He's telling you to fast before the end of the year. He's telling you to do a prayer challenge with yourself before the end of the year. He's telling you to start the podcast before the end of the year, or, get the setup and buy the things. He's telling you to, I don't know, make sure you tithe before the end of the year. Make sure you pay something off before the end of the year. Like, he's telling you to do these things. Make sure you publish that book before the end of the year. Make sure that you whatever it is that he's telling you to do, specifically, he's telling you to get it done before the end of the year, because once we cross over that threshold into the new year, there's going to be so much coming to you. His glory is going to be right there knocking at the door. Like, I'm ready to show you this increase and enlargement in territory. I am ready to do all these things. But you won't be able to grasp hold of them because you still have open loops. You still have things that have not been finished. You still have things that have not changed. You still have things that you're still working on. He's saying, even when it comes to trauma, start dealing with that trauma now. Do not wait until the beginning of the year to do that. Like, get into therapy now. Go to prayer now. Get deliverance now. Seek deliverance from God now. He's telling you to do it now. And so our last MVP day was titled The Last Stretch, because we are in the last stretch, and he's saying, do not get tired. Do not grow weary. You are in the last stretch, and there is still time. And he wants you to know that he loves you. He wants you to know, like, this is encouragement. This is to kind of put some fire up under you. Like, I just ask right now that God just gives you peace that surpasses all understanding, healing, real, genuine joy. Like, he just gives you the strength that you need to do whatever it is that he's calling you to do. He's giving you the strength that you need to pursue, to actually go out on a limb, take a risk, and dare to pursue. That means, so dare to pursue, really quickly for anybody that's new, it is actually a 10-step process. At the very, very, very beginning, we do this thing where we kind of prepare for incubation. And incubation is like the same thing you could think of if a baby is born prematurely. They put the baby into an incubator because the baby cannot withstand the germs and the elements and all the things in the natural world just yet. So they need to be in the incubator, right? They need to be in the incubator so they can grow some more, they can mature, they can be protected, all the things outside of the womb, right? So we have like this ground zero preparation for incubation where we do that. And then step 1 is literally dare to pursue you. And in daring to pursue you, you're daring to pursue God. And in daring to pursue God, everything else just starts to fall in place, period. Like, it has to. When you're pursuing God, uppercase G, God. And when I say God, for anybody that may be new, I mean Jesus Christ, okay? Just in case anybody may be a little confused by that. Okay, Jesus Christ, the God of ancient Israel. Okay, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then the God who sent his only begotten Son for our sins. Okay, so that is exactly who I'm talking about, real quick, so just in case. I always like to throw that out there, especially when I'm on TikTok. But dare to pursue you, right? And in daring to pursue you, you're daring to pursue God. And so after that is dare to trust. Dare to trust. Like, it's actual action steps that you have to take. And if you want me to, send me a DM, send me an email. I can send you the entire list of each of the dare to pursue items. I might just make a blog post to kind of refer everybody to, because I think it's so important that a lot of times when we get on and we're talking about things, I know for me, I'm a visual person, and so sometimes I'm like, I need to really see it. Like, can you really like say it plainly for me and in layman terms for me? So if you want that, let me know. I will go ahead and create a blog post, and then just send me a DM and I'll send that blog post to you. You could also get on my email list, and I'll make sure I send it out to my email list as well. But you have dare to pursue you. You have dare to trust. You have dare to tear down. You have dare to check yourself. My favorite one. I don't know why I like that one so much. Dare to check yourself. And it just goes all the way down. And the very last one is dare to emerge. And again, this 10-step process, God takes us from different levels of glory. So let's say we're here right now at the end of 2023. By the middle of 2024, you didn't dared to pursue, right, the 10-step process a few times. And he's like, I'm ready for the next level for you, babe. I got the next level of glory for you here. Let's say it's June or July 2024. Now it's time for you to kind of start that process over again. It doesn't look the same each time. And so if you've been with me, we've been reading through the book of Joshua. And actually, we've been reading through the Old Testament. We started in September, I believe it was. We started in September reading through Exodus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Numbers. I kind of went out of order there. Exodus, okay. Then Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And so you can go check out my YouTube channel for those and get all of the replays for those. But it's so important because after Deuteronomy, it leads us to Joshua. And throughout this process of 2023, throughout this entire year, God has just reminded me, or just brought to my spirit, like, we are the Joshuas of our generation. Like, we are the ones who, you know, our parents may have done the best that they could, or maybe our parents didn't do the best that they could, right? Either way, we are the Joshuas. And if you don't really know the story, at the end of Deuteronomy, Moses himself, the one who took the Israelites out of bondage, you know, by the instruction of God, the one who was anointed by God to do that, to part the Red Sea, to get the 10 Commandments, to ask God for food to come from the sky, manna and quail, the one who was anointed, literally did not get to go to the promised land. He had to die outside of the promised land. He was able to see it, but he had to die outside of the promised land. And now we're reading through the book of Joshua. If you've been with me, you should be reading. Okay, today is December 13th, which means we are on chapter 13. If you're behind, go ahead and catch up. Okay, we're going literally day by day for the month of December. Today is the 13th, so you should be on chapter 13. And it's so good, because if he's telling us we're the Joshuas of our generation, and mind you, when he gave me the revelation, like, I don't really understand it. I'm just like, okay, am I just saying anything, or is this for real? But we're the real MVPs, the most valuable player. Joshua was the most valuable player in his bloodline, in the Israelite camp at that time. He was the successor to Moses. Mind you, Moses didn't get to go into the promised land. He got to see it from afar. Like, is that you, player, coming across the Himalayas? Like, that's all. Like, he literally, when you read the Bible and you like visualize it, you're like, dang, he literally got to just be like, dang, that's it over there, huh? And God is like, yeah, you got to die right here. You can't go because you disobeyed me. You can't go because, and it wasn't just for Moses, but everybody in Moses' generation. they were actually supposed to be the ones to go to the promised land. Again, this is the backstory. You got to go back and read it for yourself. You got to go back and listen to the videos. Again, they are posted to YouTube and in my Facebook group. But they were supposed to walk, right? Because they didn't have cars back then. They were supposed to have an 11-day journey. An 11-day journey from Egypt to the promised land, which was Canaan. Yeah, Canaan. But instead it turned to 40 years and a whole entire generation dying off who was forbidden to go to the promised land because of their murmuring and complaining. No, I don't know where the Himalayas are. They didn't get to get in. They had to die before, like, God could not allow their murmuring, their complaining, and their idolatry to go into this new place where he was taking the Israelite people. So anywho, again, go back, get caught up on all of that good stuff, because it's really good stuff, okay? It's really, really, really good stuff. So get caught up on all that good stuff and get to the book of Joshua. Joshua is so good because, again, go back. Now, for the last video that we did, it is in the Facebook group. It is not on YouTube. But it's so good because in the first 3 chapters, God literally lets Joshua know, like, and you got to think about it. Joshua grew up in the wilderness. He grew up in the wilderness. That's all he knew. He didn't know Egypt. He just knew the wilderness, right? What you got to think about, if that's all you see, and it's kind of like a psychological thing, because they were literally walking in circles for 40 years. Walking in circles for 40 years. Literally. Again, it was only an 11-day journey from Egypt to Canaan. Okay? And if you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments. And if the question don't make sense, I'm probably going to just ignore it, okay? But if you guys have any questions, I would love to kind of address them, because I think it's so important that we think about the mindset where Joshua was. Again, for those of you that have been with me this whole time, you should be on Joshua chapter 13 at this point. Today is December 13th. You should be on Joshua chapter 13. I am not reading it with you guys this morning. We are just going into what God has on my heart this morning. So you got to be reading on your own. Remember, Dare to Pursue is about knowing God for yourself too. Knowing God for yourself and understanding that we don't need proxies. Yes, it's great to have prophets. Yes, it's great to have pastors, preachers, the church. All of those things are really great. But God is letting us know that many of us perish for lack of knowledge, which is why Jesus had to come in the first place, because there were so many proxies back in the day. The people didn't know God for themselves. They killed their own Messiah. We ain't got that far down the line yet. We're going to keep going through the Bible. We're going to journey our way on through the Bible, y'all, as God leads us. But I just need you to know that I'm not reading it with you guys right now, because you've got to learn how to read for yourself and get that revelation from God for yourself too. And he will give it to you, I promise you. So just really quick. Again, y'all should be on chapter 13. So I think it's really important to really think about the mindset that Joshua in his flesh may have had. Again, he only knew the wilderness. He only knew the wilderness. He may have known the tail end of Egypt, depending on when he was born. We don't know when he was born. But he knew the wilderness. He listened to his ancestors, his mama, his daddy, his grandma, his grandpa, his cousins, his aunts, his uncles. He listened to all of the older people before him who died, who were not able to who were not able to go into the promised land, right? They were forbidden from going into the promised land. They had to die before Joshua could get the instructions for them to go into the promised land, right? He grew up listening to them, murmur and complain. He grew up watching the manna fall from the sky, the quail fall from the sky, the water coming out of the rock to feed them and to nourish them for 40 years. He grew up listening to whatever jibber jabber all them people was talking, and all them people who died and did not get to go to the promised land. He grew up watching Moses do all of these things, and then in the end disobey God, and he himself not even be able to go into the promised land. He grew up seeing all of this. So you got to think about in his flesh how at one point Moses is like, all right, Joshua, you the chosen one, you're anointed, you're appointed. I know you only seen us out here in dust and rags and in the wilderness and in the desert. I know you've only seen, our people get scolded and talked about. I know you've only seen, our people, all of these things. Like, you could only imagine, right? I know you've only seen this, but I'm telling you, I know you've only seen your people in poverty. I know you've only seen marriageless families. I know you've only seen fatherless homes. I know you've only seen addiction. I know you've only seen, cancer. I know you've only seen heart disease. I know you've only seen high blood pressure. I know you've only seen mental illness. I know you've only seen this, but I'm telling you, you are the real MVP, and you are the one that's going to lead these people into their promised land. You are the one. I know with your natural eye, you've only seen all of this other stuff. And I know with your natural eye, you've never seen my glory for real. You've never seen, how kings and queens live. I know you've never seen any of this, but this is what I'm telling you that I have for you. So I need y'all to really understand where Joshua's fleshly mind might have been, but where his faith had to be to really step into who God was calling him to be. Now, if you behind on Joshua, make sure y'all go back and read chapter 1 through 13. Again, today is December 13th. You should be on chapter 13. Like, really think about it, you guys. God has been telling us that we're the Joshuas of our generation. He's telling you, I know you've only seen people get abortion after abortion after abortion because they have, for whatever reason that they have to get one. I know you've only seen, the women in your family get beat by their spouses, or get beat by their husbands, or get beat by their partners. I know you've only seen people in your family drop out of school and not go past a high school diploma, not go past whatever it is. I know you've only seen everybody eat themselves to death. I know you've only seen all of the sexual immorality. I know you've only experienced the spirit of Jezebel in your family. I know you've only experienced the Python spirit. I know you've only experienced mental illness and suicidal ideation in your family. But I'm telling you that I have something different for you, God. Not me, God. That's why this is so important. That is why this is so important. He's like, I know you've only seen addiction to drugs, addiction to pornography, addiction. I know you've only seen molestation. I know you've only seen, but I'm telling you, I have something different for you. I expect something different from you. That's why this is so important. You got to think about, what did Joshua only see? Like, really get the history and understand that he only saw them in the desert with dirt, and the manna coming from the sky, and the water coming from the rock. He didn't see them as kings and queens. He didn't see, none of that. So I thank you, Jesus, that you're speaking to your sons and daughters this morning, and like, whatever it is that they've only seen in their lives, let them know, like, give them the comfort, give them the encouragement that even though that's what they've seen in their family, that's not what you have for them, because they are the generational curse breaker and the generational wealth builder in their family. Yes, God told you to read the book of Joshua today, and look at you here on this live. It's not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. He's saying, I know you've only seen this with your natural eye, but I have so much more for you. And that's a place of unlimited possibilities. It's a place of enlargement of territory, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, all the things. All the things. I know you've only seen things happen this way your whole life, but I have so much more for you. You are the generational curse breaker and the generational wealth builder. I have a place of unlimited, God has a place of unlimited possibilities for all of us. We have to pursue it. We have to dare ourselves to pursue. We have to seek it. And that's why daring to pursue is so important. So this recording will be posted to YouTube and in the Facebook group. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments. I do have to go here. God is saying the year is not over. Do what it is that He's told you to do. I believe strongly that God is saying this, and it doesn't just apply to me. So I'll say it like that. I know that He said for sure He wants to show us His glory. He wants us to experience His glory. He wants us to operate in His glory. He wants us to literally live in a place of unlimited possibilities, which I like to call His wealthy place, where things happen in your life where you are just like, I never could imagined that would be me. Like, that is so cool, God. Like, oh my goodness. And my life is a living testimony of that. So it would be a disservice if I didn't come and share that with you guys, because I know it's not just for me. So again, if you've been with me for some time, or if you're new here, my name is Victoria Grace, and this is the Dare to Pursue community. I literally pair behavior change with faith, as I am a behavior analyst. And in this community, we answer the clarion call to what God, we answer the call, period. We get up, we answer the call, even though it's difficult, even though it's hard. We answer the call because we know on the other side of that is amazing things that God has for us in all aspects of our lives, whether that is your career, whether that's your health, your finances, anything, marriage. I was supposed to be going live every day, you guys, and it has been a bit difficult to do so. So if you'd like to know when I'm going live again, get on my email list. Is the link in my bio. I will send out an email. This live will be posted to YouTube. So catch this live. Go to daretopursue.co, daretopursue.co, and get connected there. Also, the link is in my bio here on TikTok, as well as on YouTube if you are watching this replay. I love you guys. Again, this is day 13 of our challenge. So again, we're reading a book of Joshua every single day. Okay, today is day 13, which means you should be reading chapter 13. God told Joshua in the first 3 chapters of the book, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for He is with us. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for He is with us. And He is not a God that should lie. He is not a God that should bear false witness. He is not a God that does not keep His covenant or keep His promises. We serve a promise-keeping God, a covenant-keeping God. Like, we are just so privileged to be able to even do that, right? So I do have to go, you guys. I will be live tomorrow, and I possibly might go live again today. If I go live again today, I will send out an email to let y'all know. But I will be live for sure tomorrow, and I will send out an email to remind you guys, okay? It's day 13. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. If you need to go back to chapter 1 of Joshua, go ahead and do that. Get the Bible app on your phones. Real simple. It can read it to you while you're at work. It can read it to you while you're driving. You don't have no excuses. Okay? I love you guys so much. Be blessed, be encouraged, and make sure that you stay connected. Again, daretopursue.co, daretopursue.co. And I'll see you in the next one.